Good morning, everybody. We have quite a unique session this morning. Myself, Dor, co-founder and CTO of Orca AI, and Mr. Anderson, director of MTI. For today's session, we decided not to present a presentation per se, but rather to discuss and show how two organizations were able to collaborate and deliver one of the most advanced projects in maritime at the peak of a global pandemic, with the entire world basically between us, between Israel and Japan, with some interesting challenges and gaps. This is more of an open session. We have some presentation here to show you, and at the last part of our presentation, it's going to be a little bit more of an open discussion between myself and Anderson. So without further ado, let us begin. So in 2020, between 2020 and 2022, there was a big project conducted in Japan called Defas, which is designing the future of full autonomous ship. And Orca AI, which is a company from Israel, was very happy to participate in that project. So a little bit about Orca AI. You have brochures if you want to read, but some numbers. A company based in Tel Aviv, Israel, started in 2018. Myself and my colleague, Mr. Yarden, he's the CEO. I'm the Chief Technology Officer. We have more than 600 ships installed and booked with Orca AI on board. Our platform uses computer vision, machine learning to basically mimic the human lookout person. And for that purpose, we use roughly 20 million nautical miles of collected data. And the goal of our platform is eventually to help and assist crews navigate safer without taking their work. Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Dos. Good morning. My name is Ando from MTI, which is research and development arm of NYK Line. And NYK Line, it's a very traditional company, but it operates around like 800 vessels, and 1/3 of the vessels are own vessels, and the other ones are chartering vessels. And MTI was the stake 100% owned by NYK, and our main task is to support NYK fleet to improve the efficiency in terms of like operation, safety, like performance, and it's like nowadays like emission reduction and so on.
A trial simulating the actual operation of a fully autonomous ship was conducted from February 26th through March 1st of 2022. The route covered the 790-kilometer round trip between Tokyo Bay and Ise Bay. The route included some of the world's most congested maritime areas, such as the Uraga Channel and the Urago Channel.
大きなチャレンジだと思っています。
This project was motivated by the fact that 70 to 80% of maritime accidents are caused by human error, as well as the issue of crew shortages resulting from the shrinking labor force. The Defas project began in 2020 as part of the Nippon Foundation's Meguri 2040 fully autonomous ship program.
So this is the intro of the Defas project, and this figure shows the overview of this the whole system. As you see, we have onboard navigation system, and that is connected via satellite telecommunication system, and also actually we use the terrestrial communication to onshore system. And shore side, we have two systems. One is actually the bottom one. It's an integrated display block to monitor ship operation. But if something like a situation is it changes, like the congested water and some rather critical situation, then we use that emergency response block, and then where shore captain monitor closely and take over control in some cases. And then, so from this, actually, I will ask Dorsan that.
Thank you. So MTI and Ando-san actually had to find solutions related to a human lookout for a full autonomous ship. What does that mean? It means that a ship today cannot run without a human lookout. It's under the regulations. So how can a trial utilizing technology for full autonomous ship run without computer vision? And they have toured the world and eventually came to find OrcAI in Israel. We were roughly 15 people in the company back then when they visited us. We just started deploying this advanced technology, and they had very demanding requirements from our company, from a young company. One of them was a full 360 field of view of cameras, target identification only by the camera with estimating distance and bearing to the targets, integrating with the existing navigation sensors on board the ship. So output from our system to other systems, a fleet operations center to review all the video stream remotely from a shore station, a new hardware we had to develop to meet those requirements. And of course, it has to be extremely reliable. It cannot break under assault or vibrations. It cannot stop working. It doesn't have a downtime. And it was set to trial on some test ships that are different from the original ships. And imagine all of this had to be delivered within less than 2 years from signing the contract to full delivery in 2020, when we can't even meet in person. It was quite a challenge. So I put here some interesting insights on how to do it. So one of the biggest challenges, once we have the hardware and once we have the software ready, is how do we install the system at all? Okay, we come with 3 pieces of 18 cameras, and we need to put it on board. But no one from OrcAI can visit Japan. We can't go there. No system engineer, no technician, no one. So working alongside MTI, and the good thing is about they were extremely open for this session, we had to really think outside of the box. How can we create a complex procedure for cameras calibration and overlapping without proper language, without proper times? We couldn't even sit and talk together while we do it because it was in the port and there's poor connectivity. How to do it? So in OrcAI, we really had to think outside the box. This is our headquarters back in Tel Aviv. What we did, we built kind of a digital twin, or not digital, a twin ship in our office. This is the ship, and it's moving and rolling. And now I have a small question for the audience. Do you know maybe what this is? Maybe you can think of what you're seeing here. This is Microsoft Paint. Do you see this? So the overlapping procedure, which is basically a complex procedure to achieve, we decided eventually to present to MTI how to do the overlapping using Microsoft Paint. So we told them, take a picture from one lookout unit, the second lookout unit, put it together and count the pixels. If the pixels are above a certain threshold, then this is too much overlapping. If the pixels are too far away, we will have blind spots. And we found and figured what would be the perfect number of pixels between images, and we shared that with MTI, and they conducted this experiment on board. And voila, it worked, and it worked really, really good. And this is just one of the examples of very, I would say, unique and rather extraordinary procedure to conduct this. Another thing that I'll explain a little bit what you see here. So you see here 2 screens. One screen is actually image recognition working on the user interface, and on the other screen, I don't know if you could see like a small sun coming out from the ship. So this is OrcAI image recognized targets, distance and bearing, output to another vendor equipment using a new protocol, which is compliant with the maritime protocol that we co-developed. So imagine that there are systems like radar and ECDIS, they use the same protocols. So we had to make sure that OrcAI is compliant with that protocol and develop how do we transfer information from one system to other systems. And we did that from completely scratch. So sitting with MTI, okay, what do we want from maritime visual targets? Their type, their distance, their bearing, maybe something more, the confidence. What is a target? And we had a very interesting, I would say, quite philosophical sessions on what is a target. We can't even agree looking ourselves on a video and say this is a target and this is not. This is interesting, this is not. So this is part of the challenges. And almost one last thing before we shipped the equipment to Japan. Of course, like any project, everything was ready at the very last moment. But the very last moment here was actually the very last DHL airplane leaving Israel. It was complete sky shutdown. We drove in person to the airport to put this equipment on the last airplane leaving Israel to Hamburg, if I tell correctly. And that was the very last airplane left Israel for months. And imagine we would not deliver this, probably we would fail completely and will not meet the timeline. So this is another nice anecdote because the sky shut down. So once the systems are in Japan, we need to train the AI. It's new, uncharted territory for computer vision. We never saw fishing vessels like this in Japan, unique bridges and unique navigation hazards. So we trained the system for roughly a year on maritime data just in Japan. So we had to deliver the hardware and then collect back the data to our office, label it, train the algorithms, and redeploy this. And this is a procedure that happened constantly using our collaboration in Japan and, of course, thinking outside of the box almost every step on the way. And the result. So the result was digital watchkeeping in action. So what you see here, this is not a simulator. This is actually how the OrcAI perceives the environment. It can detect, it can track, it can classify different types of target. It even alerts on bow crossing and head-on situations and call rig situations. Everything is done automatically, no human intervention needed via this user interface that was also shown for the Remote Fleet Operations Center. Now, this is part of what the Defas project enjoyed in Japan on 18 cameras simultaneously, 360 degrees, for the remote captain. Anderson, please.
The trial began after approximately 2 years of preparation.
「船の服装が多いところがちゃんと動けるかっていうところがまず一番の山場かなというふうに思っています。
はい。
Start calculation. Route accepted.
抜けたな。偉い。とりあえず第一関門突破です。
Yeah, I saw that video over 20 times, but still very impressive. Well, so the result, thanks to the good cooperation of Orca and also good cooperation of other expert companies, we could manage and integrate all necessary functions into autonomous ships, and then we could achieve in total 98.5% fully autonomous functions successful in the return voyage of 400 miles. And so this is the story within this short period. But through this collaboration together with Orca, of course, there are so many learnings. But this is actually last point, and I think Dorsan and myself have some dialogues on our impressions and our lessons learned and the future about the success story. But Dorsan, could you start?
Yeah. So you probably hear a lot about projects trialing autonomous ships. You can hear even here in the Nordics, a lot of companies are pursuing this technology and some use cases for it. The one thing that differentiates this Defas, which is designing the future of this autonomous ship, it's not just about project KPIs and success. It's about true implementation, true vision of this industry. And what makes this collaboration between these two companies so unique is the fact that we share a very similar vision towards that. That vision is on a collaborative approach vision. It's not consolidation just by one player trying to do all the functionalities of a full autonomous ship, which is extremely challenging. But instead, trying to collaborate similarly to automotive industries, where you can see companies opening up their source and data sets and sharing ideas and collaborate not only on the technical side, but also on the vision side. And I think that the MTI's approach towards that, this is the healthy, correct, and for sure the most advanced one that could have made this trial a success. Their approach is to work with the best players in class. If you have the best computer vision, they will work with you. If you have the best predictive maintenance, they will work with you. This is, I think, what makes this collaboration unique, is that they actually work like a startup company within a huge conglomerate like NYK. And this is mainly, by the way, as I see it, is due to Ando-san's spirit and way to do things, way to get things done. Nothing is impossible. There is no, let's find a simpler solution. I think this is the first thing that made it a success. Ando-san, if you have something to add.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate to hear that. And yes, I think so. And actually, very beginning at when I had a meeting at the Tel Aviv, Dorsan's office, and before that, and actually we got a good impression that the OpenAI is the best one among others. When I see the technology behind the scene and the processes, how to make annotation data and allowance, and also so efficiently, productively they are processing the data. So that was very much impressive. But still, I discussed and then to check like the sort of like way of thinking. Can we work together? That means like I think your technology is the best, but why we select your technology is because it does not mean like we got married, but it means that we are partner, and we'd like to work with the best partner, and then we would like to define what are the requirements from the total system point of view. What are the requirements of the computer vision system? And through working with best partner, we can identify the necessary interface and so on. But then, actually, by using that interface, other competitors of Orca also can participate in this race. I mean, technology development race. But that is very healthy competition, and but to accelerate and to achieve the higher goal, we need that kind of healthy competition. But for that, actually, we have to identify what are the requirements to each modules and to each company. And then that is actually what, actually, in the end of the day, actually, like us, shipping company, we need such a advanced technology company surrounding a shipping company. Then we can enjoy our businesses more safe operation and efficient operation. So that is that way of thinking. We could agree with Dor-san and Yaden-san. So that's why that was a very good start, and then somehow it had been working very well since then up to today.
Thank you very much, Ando-san. The second point towards what we learned throughout the way was that, as opposed to what you would think, for a big project like this to succeed, specifically in COVID, I remember calling Ando-san and asking him, okay, now that there's a global pandemic, I'm sure that there's like a postpone in the timeline, right? We have more time. And MTI, they said, no, we have to finish it. This is the budget, this is the timeline that we have. So that actually meant it triggered the fact that everything which is redundant and complex and hard to do is removed. We are not dealing with that. So we had weekly meetings, weekly progress meetings, and every time we encountered an issue, a problem, MTI said to us, it's not that important, leave it, let's continue. And this kind of out-of-the-box thinking approach actually made it a success story. And I think this is something that is not seen too often in our industry, which is, again, a little bit traditional. They have their own working pace. We have collaborated with many other large vendors in the industry, tier 1 vendors, and you can see the immense difference between working with a big organization. They have 6 months just to approve some change. These kind of processes are just not suitable for the future of shipping, of maritime. We need to think outside the box. Eventually, this technology will serve people coming to work on board these ships. Even though they are autonomous, there will be still there will be people on there. And we need to make their lives way easier. And I think that this outside of the box and flexibility what actually made it a success. It's a very short time. If you want to add on that, Anderson.
Yeah, I think it's due to high pressure from our sponsor. That is one thing. But anyhow, this the consortium consists of 30 companies, and actually including partners, there are over 60 companies. There are 5 global companies. Actually, Orca is one of that. But to manage it and to coordinate, and then within that 2 years, and then from the scratch, we started from the very concept by the captains, and then there was some collaboration with technicians. But anyhow, it was too short, very, very short and high pressure project. So definitely we have to be very strict to the schedule management and so on. So that's why actually we put a little bit pressure on Dor-san's shoulder. But yeah, sorry about that. But
it's okay.
Yeah, but anyhow, that was actually for collaboration. So that kind of project management, and also sharing the idea of what we are designing and what we are implementing. That design has to be properly shared and then properly managed. That was quite important.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Ando-san. Just to summarize, it might sound surprising, but there are many similarities between Israel and Japan. Both are quite isolated and heavily relying on shipping. And within those countries, there are many similarities between Orca and MTI. MTI is the forefront of NYK research and development. They have a brilliant team of engineers and captains and mariners. Very similar structure to Orca AI. We have master mariners and engineers. So I think that just to summarize, we continue to collaborate, and we will probably continue to collaborate in the future. But the one thing that we learned from building and collaborating this type of magnitude of a project is that the industry drastically needs these types of collaborations to be more open, less consolidated, not to be afraid to share. This is something I can see all across the other competitors and companies. No one wants to share. Let's share our vision. Let's work together, and let's make this dream a reality. And thank you very much for coming here. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Ando-san, thank you so much.